Hello. Sound check. Check out some sounds. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to GEEXX Plays, or Old Man Plays Video Games Badly, whichever you want to call it. Today I want to talk about Remnant2. This is a game that actually came out a couple years ago. I actually heard about it a couple of years ago and was very interested in it, but then it kind of fell off my radar. I was like going through a Steam sale a few months back and like, oh, Remnant, I forgot that was on my wish list. So I got it, and then I eventually got on to playing with it. This is the second game in the series. It takes place roughly 2 or 3 decades after the end of the first game. So, you know, the first game kind of ended on, I guess, a good note. The evil root was defeated, although the United States is still a wasteland. As the Earth recovers and the root and its corruption fades, people are trying to rebuild civilization from the ashes of the apocalypse. So this is third-person, well, not run and jump, but kind of a Souls-like game, except that unlike most Souls-like games, you do not lose your souls when you die. It's an action RPG, I guess. This is Ward 13. This is the major hub. And you have some. Here's my dog. This is the crystal that is a portal to other worlds. We'll get to that later. I'll show you around town real quick. Here's your vendors. You know, she sells miscellaneous stuff. Here's the armor vendor. Here's your medic. And you got a couple of miscellaneous dudes over here. These sell various things. Oh, there's Dwell, he crafts mod equipment. This is your weapons vendor. And then in here is your here's your blacksmith dude. He upgrades your weapons. And this Chicky Babe does your special weapons. She'll craft your special weapons for you and your special mods. So, the root may have been defeated here on Earth, but there are other worlds where the root is still corrupting things. So that's your job in this game. I'm wearing mismatched gear just because I like the looks of it. It's all about the fashion. Here's my stats. So, for my gear. High noon hat, red widow, trainer work boots. These are some special weapons I crafted from boss materials. Amulets and rings, and it's called a relic, but it's basically your Estus flask. This used on healing. Although, unlike other Souls games, you have different types of relics, which change what your healing effects do. So that's a cool little addition to this. When you start the game, you can choose from the handler or the medic, challenger, this, and the hunter. Okay, those are the 4 that you get to start with. You unlock other classes as you play the game. And the cool thing is, like, you start off with one class. Once you get to like level 10, you can then equip a secondary class with all the abilities thereof, except the prime perk. Like it says, bonded prime perk. If the handler's down, his companion, which means my dog, has a 50% will resurrect me at 50% health, which has cooldown 90 seconds, so I can't just die repeatedly. So you get the prime perk, but you get all these little passive perks as you level up. Each archetype has 3 abilities. I have not earned the last one of these in my medic. If you notice, I only have 2 down the bottom left-hand corner next to my gun, next to the picture of my gun. There's a picture of a little dog with my hand in its mouth, and a picture of me punching the ground. The green picture of me punching the ground. So, my dog has a heal. He will, if I can command him to howl. Oh, I also activated my weapon mod. I can also punch the ground. Oh, I can't punch the ground now. Oh, because my weapon mod was active. I can punch the ground, and that will also heal me. So he should notice I was very focused on keeping myself alive this game. I wasn't big into tanking, but more into self-healing. So, this is a Souls game with guns. I don't have a lot of weapons. I think it's more small. You basically have a long gun, a rifle, handgun, and then a melee weapon. I have a few of these, not too many. I didn't get basically like you start off with the basic weapon, which was I think my basic weapon. Yeah, my Blackmaw was the gun I started with. Well, I started the tutorial with just the rusty gun. When I picked my class, I got the Blackmaw. I upgraded a bit. These 4 I found throughout playing or crafted, but I didn't. The special weapons you get from killing bosses, but we'll get to that later. So this is you can test out your weapons. You notice I have unlimited ammo here. The cool thing about this, another thing I like about this game is each weapon has a mod. You have a mod. So this has Hotshot. I chose to put Hotshot on this gun. So what I can do is when I want to, I can just pop it on fire and I shoot flaming stuff and set things on fire, which is cool. And you can select different mods. I have a couple different ones here. Oh, wait. For example, I have Hotshot, but I've also got, I found more of these than anything else. I've got chains, a drill, a defrag. I don't know what that does, but I can do any of these on any weapon. Astral Burst. Well, I can do this on any. If you notice, I've got these little imbued, chemical-filled spots here. If I change that to, say, Astral Burst, it changes the way my gun looks, which I didn't notice at first. But yeah, you really, man, you really, I never really noticed this before. I saw someone point it out to me, but it will really. How come my gun's not changing? Here we go. I guess your gun has a limited number of appearances based on. So it's not infinite, but okay. So my gun has, each gun has a handful of different appearances, which is cool, which I was unaware of. The exception to that is the special guns. I crafted this on Nightfall. I cannot swap this out. It's locked. It's part of the gun. You can also have a mod. There are all kinds of different mods you can choose from. They all do different things. I picked this one because it gave me a chance to get ammo back. Running out of ammo is a big deal. I have unlimited there, but you know I have like 100 some odd shots here. One thing about this game is that, except for the hub here in town, the game is procedurally generated. What that means is the story is somewhat random. Now, when I played the game and I came to my crystal, the first time I went to the crystal, this is how you. This is your grace. You're at bonfire. Oh crap! I was doing something different. Hold on. Go back to my campaign. Yes, I don't care. So this is the campaign. Now, when I started the campaign, I wound up in Lawson. But that was just me. If you start this game, you could start in Yesha or Nerud. And the map here, where did I start? I think I started in Marrow Parish. So I'll show what Marrow Parish looks like. Loading. Here's Lawson. It's kind of like a Victorian, kind of Gothic horror type place. But if I, the map. If I show you the map, This is what my map looks like. You see the red teleport, red save crystals. Blue is an NPC. Square doors are story related. Doors with a rounding top are optional dungeons. But when they built, like, when the game generates this map, it generates it at random. Certain things like this little area with the NPCs, that's a set that's a set area, but this is built on tile sets. So it creates this at random using tile sets. The optional dungeons are completely random. Like each of these zones, the 3 zones, I'm not sure about Labyrinth, but I know that Lossum, Erud, and Yeisha all have 2 different storylines. Now the storylines are somewhat interwoven. Like Lossum has the Night Weaver and the Fey Court. You'll interact with both of them, but one of them will be your primary storyline. So you won't have the same end boss, depending on which storyline you're progressing. Depends on what your final boss will be. There's 2 final bosses in Lossum. There's 2 final bosses in Yeisha. There's 2 final bosses in Erud, but you don't know which one you're going to get until you load the screen in and find out where your starting area is, because which story you're going to be following. Yeisha is a corrupted forest, with you either following the Ravager and the Doe storyline or the Immortal Queen storyline. Erud is a civilization at the end of time when the universe is ending. So you have to deal with that. And then the Labyrinth is like a central area. When you finish the quest line for whichever area you start in, you'll wind up in the Labyrinth, and then it will unlock your ability to go to the other 2 areas. Root Earth is the final zone, but again, so that just gives this game so much replayability, because if I started a new character, a brand new character, I would not know what I could get a completely different playthrough. You could play this game multiple times and not have the same playthrough 2 times in a row at all. Just not just with the random tile sets that the game gives you, but the random storylines the game gives you. There's like 6 or 8 optional dungeons in each of the different optional dungeons in each of these zones, and you don't know which ones you're going to get. And each one has different rewards, which is really cool. The other thing about this game is that I think I mentioned when you start the game, you can only pick one class, and you can choose from the Handler, the Medic, the Challenger, or the Hunter. If you bought the Deluxe Edition, you can also choose from the Gunslinger. But all these other ones I've unlocked. I've unlocked the Alchemist, the Gunslinger, the Engineer, the Summoner, the Invader, and the Explorer. These are all unlocked through the game. Now, another cool thing about that is that each region, each zone, has a different class to unlock. In Lossum, you unlock the Alchemist. You don't unlock in the Labyrinth. In Erud, you unlock the Engineer. In Yeisha, you unlock the Summoner. In Root Earth, you unlock... Is it the Invader? And then in Ward 13, you unlock the Gunslinger. They're all unlocked in different ways. In Erud, you just have to find like the item that allows you to make the Engineer, which is actually one of the worst things, because you have to go in like a poison area and you will die of poison if you stay there too long. In this, you have to be abducted by this sewer monster. In this, you have to collect certain blood orbs that only spawn during certain times. I can't remember what you gotta do here. In War 13, you basically just have to talk to one of the NPCs repeatedly until he runs out of stories. And if you do that, at the end of the game, he will give you the Gunslinger class. Talking about some classes again. yeah, you can only have one ability. You unlock abilities as you level up. You know, if you did the Alchemist, Alchemist is about buffing you and your allies. Gunslinger is about, you know, shooting quickly with ammo. Invader's got some cool skills that let you be untouchable. You don't, like, hide from enemies and move away from them and stuff. So evasions and you also have traits. Kinship reduces friendly fire damage. This is very, yeah, that's one thing I forgot. Friendly fire exists in this game. You also have, these are passive traits, which you get points as you play the game, and you can do anything to level 10. So Bark Skin reduces damage, skill cooldown, mod power generation. Oh yeah, your mods, your weapon mods, you can't use them indefinitely. Once you use them, they have to recharge. How are you untouchable? Oh, right, because I switched classes. It's the first time I switched to Invader. You can also swap out this one, swap out the main class too. So you're not stuck playing a handler the entire game. You could do switch to medic. So you can mix and match your classes however you like. It also changes your class name. Yeah, I'm a Regenerator Bloodletter. So if I swap this back to Bonded Prowler, Bonded Shepherd, Bonded Grey Wolf, Bonded Beastmaster. So it's all, you know, it's all cool stuff. You can really play around with this a lot. I did like that too, that this game just gives you a lot of variety in playstyle. So that's the good stuff. Now I want to talk about the bad stuff. So one of the things you can do if you can find a... this game doesn't have a jump. It does allow you to climb, but there are a lot of areas that look like you should be able to get access to them. Like this game gives a lot of areas that looks like you should be able to access them, but you can't. Now, From Software has spoiled me in that. In Dark Souls and Elden Ring, if it looks like you can get to an area, you probably can. So, yeah. In this game, there's a lot of areas. That's one of the things that bothers me. There have been some bugs I've encountered. A lot of times when I'm trying to assign trait points, it will not let me. You know, I'll say add trait point, and then commit to the changes, and say yes, and it doesn't do that. You know. I trait point available. Didn't even know that. So like I said, that's a bug. I've encountered a couple bugs. What's something else that's bothered me besides the bugs? The controls are a little janky, and I'm playing on a controller, so that might have something to do with it. Yeah, I did have a hard time with some of the controls. I think if I was playing that's screen in the background. I'm not sure if you guys can hear that, but yeah, some of the background sound effects. I'll back to the ward. It's a bit quieter. You know how much that background noise is bothering me. The other thing too is like I only have two. No matter which classes I pick, I only have two abilities. You know, I have my RB skill, or I can either howl with the wolf, or I can do the ground punch thing. You know, I do not have access to all of my abilities. For the handler, it makes sense because it changes how the dog behaves. He's either a tank, a healer, or an attack dog. So it kind of makes sense that you only have access to one of them. But it'd be nice if I could, switch back and forth quickly. Just having to do that. Something else that bothered. I think it was more than that. controls janky, some bugs. Some things aren't easily explained. You gain fragments, but there's no telling. There's not a good explanation of how to get these or what they do. I've noticed that if it says you can buy fragments from this dude, but like, here's the thing: I already have almost all the fragments. I'm only missing one yellow one and one red one. So if I asked him to craft me,
which will make it stronger than before.
Yeah. If I ask him to craft me a fragment, I will use my relic dust, but I won't get any fragment, and it won't upgrade them either. It'll just use up my crafting materials without doing anything. That's annoying.
You must return soon.
So things like that. Certain things are not explained well. This game is also half of the game. I'm not sure how much I've played. Does it tell me? I don't think it tells me in game how much I've played. Character stats. No, it doesn't tell me how long I've played. I have to go back to it. But like, this game has so many secrets. Now, in some ways, that's a good thing. There's stuff to find. There's stuff hidden everywhere. But like when I fought like the boss fight for the Ravager, that was the one I got for the Asia storyline. Depending on how you beat that boss, will depend on which weapon you get. Like I chose the good ending, and I got the dough staff. A decent melee weapon. I'm not complaining about it. But you could have gotten, a long gun, a really cool long gun, which you could have gotten some different melee, different hand fist melee weapons. You could have gotten an amulet. So depending on what you did, you could have gotten a ton of, cool, there's tons of different stuff. But the thing is, like, I had to resort to online help a lot for this game. So, and again, the game doesn't tell you what you're going to get or how you need to do this. So on the one hand, it's good. I like having to figure things out on my own. But on the other hand, having very little information, having too little information is also a problem. And I think there are times when this game leans into not giving us enough information to play the game properly. The storyline was good. The ending was disappointing because it didn't make any sense. Even more so than the Dark Souls games didn't make any sense. Especially since like I've beaten the game and I've come back here to play, and like no one here seems to realize the game has ended. Like, that we won. There's no acknowledgement that the ending even happened. It's like it's kind of like if the game was reset itself to just before we beat the final boss. And you can re-roll, like if you want to find, like what I was doing when I first started recording. You can do adventure mode, which means you pick a zone to reload and just play for fun. But that's also how you grind for the different weapons. I was kind of doing that not because I wanted the other weapons, but I didn't have enough crafting materials to unlock. Which was it? Oh yeah, the Invader. I'd gotten the item I needed, but to unlock it, you have to go to a special NPC who is up in that tower over there. Because that's where that light is. You have to go to him and unlock the class, and I didn't have enough crafting materials to do that with. So I just re-rolled that to get the crafting materials to unlock the final class. Now, once I've unlocked these classes, that's another good thing. Once I have unlocked these archetypes, once I've unlocked them all, when I start a new game, I'm not stuck with the original 4. I can pick any of these 10. Is it 10? Yeah, because it's not going to show me. Yeah. There is an 11th class, at least, called the Archon, which I refuse to try and get. You have to have leveled Explorer level 10, I think Invader level 5. You have to have a very specific set of gear in each of these slots. All your inventory slots have to be the right thing. And then you have to go through some other bull crap. It's supposedly a very cool starting class, but I'm not going to do that. But back to the thing, this game has so many secrets. And that's again another complaint that I have. Not necessarily that the secrets are bad, but like with the map, I think each one of these zones takes about 5 to 7 hours. I think Labyrinth and Root Earth is probably the shortest, but like Blossom, Nerud, and Yesha each took about 5 to 7 hours. Labyrinth took maybe 3, but some of that was because I kept dying a lot. Root Earth, like 2.5 to 3. So, but a good chunk of the time I spent in these zones was I would see an item and like it's like, okay, I can see an item, I have to figure out how to get it. And so much of my time was like spent figuring out these little puzzles, which you didn't need to do. Like this weapon, this is the fifth weapon, this is the melee weapon I started with. So you don't really need, like, and none of these things are upgraded to maximum level. That's 8, that's 10, that's 7. I could upgrade these things a lot more. And I still managed to beat the final boss. So you don't need to max out everything to beat the final boss. So that's good. But there is so much time spent solving puzzles, finding secrets. And I realize you don't have to. Sometimes you have to. There are a couple puzzles that you have to solve in order to progress the game. Another thing I didn't like, I keep thinking of new things. There are some gimmicky bosses that I found annoying to try and fight. There are a couple of instances with one-hit kills. If you do the wrong thing, you will instantly die. I hate those. That will actually prevent me from replaying this game. Well, not prevent me from replaying this. This game has a hardcore mode, where if you die, the game is over. But because and I'm not talking about falling off the edge of a platform. That's kind of on me. But if I make a single mistake and I am punished by dying instantly without any chance, there's at least one boss in this game, and I will not spoil it for anyone, but yeah, I died so many times to that boss because I'm having to evade this thing that will instantly kill me if it touches me, but I'm also being shot at and having these area of effect damaging zones spawn around me, which I have to dodge those as well. So it's just like, it was just, that boss fight was so annoying. And ordinarily I would pick hardcore. I would love to do that. But that one boss, I will never be able to beat that boss without dying. It's not going to happen. And there are a couple puzzles with one-hit kills as well. So yeah, some gimmicky stuff in the game. There are a couple puzzles in the game that I found it hard to figure out, but if I was paying attention, I probably could figure them out without having to resort to online. But I went online just because it was like, I don't want to spend a half an hour trying to figure this stupid thing out. So I just went online and solved them. I did try to figure it out myself the first time. I didn't just do it instantly, but there were a couple, like, I tried to figure it out. I spent like 10 or 15 minutes on it. It's like, no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to get any satisfaction from beating this puzzle. It's just going to frustrate me. But I will probably play this again on a harder difficulty level, because when the game was over, I wanted to keep playing, and I did. Like I said, I did do adventure mode. I was having a good time. I'll probably give it a break. Take a couple months off. I have a couple more games in my to play list, and try to do some online stuff with my friends. So, as always, thanks for watching. As always, my stuff is crap. And until next time, good hunting.